Good evening and welcome to the first of two meetings tonight. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, and at this time we will convene our Board of Sanitation meeting for Tuesday, February the 19th, 2019. In lieu of a roll call, I will ask each participant to introduce themselves, beginning on my far right.
Dave Harrison. Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Sandy Seward.
Thank you, Board. You have been presented a printed copy of the minutes of the previous meeting dated Monday, February 4th. The floor is open for any questions, comments, or corrections.
I have none.
No questions, comments, or corrections. I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make said motion.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. This evening, Board, we have 4 pages of wastewater claims in the amount of $218,116.73. The floor is open for any questions or comments.
I have none.
I have none.
No questions or comments. I'll ask for a motion to approve the wastewater claims in the amount of $218,116.73 dated the 19th day of February 2019.
I'll make said motion.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. We have no unfinished business carried over from the previous meeting. No new business. Comments from board members?
I have none.
I have none.
No comments. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
The meeting is adjourned at 6:02 PM. Good evening and welcome to the second and final meeting tonight. My name is Dennis Buckley, Mayor of the City of Beech Grove, and at this time we will convene our Board of Public Works and Safety meeting for Tuesday, February the 19th, 2019. In lieu of a roll call, I will ask each participant to introduce themselves, beginning on my far right.
Dave Harrison. Dan McMillan, Clerk Treasurer.
Craig Wiley, City Attorney.
Sandy Seward.
Thank you, Board. You have been presented a printed copy of the minutes of the previous meeting dated Monday, February the 4th, 2019. Floor is open for any questions, comments, or corrections.
I have none.
I have none.
No questions, comments, or corrections. I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make said motion.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. This evening, Board, we have 45 pages of corporate claims in the amount of $1,626,678.64. The floor is open for any questions or comments.
I have none. Thank you.
I have none.
No questions or comments. I'll ask for a motion to approve the corporate claims in the amount of $1,626,678.64 dated this 19th day of February 2019.
I'll make said motion.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Under unfinished business, we have no business to carry over from the previous meeting. Under new business, we have a couple of items. The first item is a professional service agreement with Crossroads and Jeff Mader Design for the St. Francis Trailhead. Trent, welcome. If you want to comment briefly on what we're getting ready to do.
Yes. Trent Newport with Crossroad Engineers and Jeff Mader with Mader Design. Here, we're actually, it's kind of a partnership project from our standpoint, because the project is probably 50% of it is kind of some street crossings and some things that we do, and then 50% of it is, or maybe more than 50% of it is actually about the pretty stuff. So it's a trailhead that we're working with St. Francis and Ton and Blank to happen there on the north side of Albany, across from 16th Street. and put on their property. And so this contract is to do the design, and then as far as the rest of it, I think that's to be worked out with St. Francis as far as how it goes from there. But something to kind of memorialize their presence there on that corner for many years, and would be a nice kind of a connection that would then have signage to down to where our Franciscan Trail is. It starts down at, south of 13th and Main. So we'd have some signage that would connect that via some street walks and so forth along 16th and Main to get you from point A to point B. But this would be kind of a trailhead on that St. Francis property. And so this is a professional services to do the design for it, which would get it to construction stage and then go from there.
Jeff, you want to comment on your portion?
Yeah, my portion is, they're kind of doing the survey up front and then work within the street. My work would be more for decorative paving, benches, landscaping, and creating a node of space where people can gather, have some bike racks, signage, information about the history of St. Francis Hospital on that site. So it would serve as a collection point, a gathering point for pedestrians to hopefully start their walk in the next year or two to the rest of the trail and throughout Beech Grove.
One of the, some information on, we've had a couple of meetings with St. Francis folks, along with Jeff and Trent. And when we decide how much property is needed to do this, St. Francis is going to donate that property to the city. So that will be coming soon, once that determination has been made. And then also, whatever the cost of this is, will be split 50-50 between the city and the redevelopment commission. Plus, I reached out to to Franciscan Alliance a couple of weeks ago and with a proposal that they pay for at least half of the construction. So all of this is working in tandem, and I think they will do it. They didn't make a commitment, but I think they will, because they really liked the idea and liked what they saw, liked the design, and I think they're anxious for this to be constructed. So I look for some good news from them, and we're not talking about much money.
And I will say, Mr. Mayor, this afternoon, right before I came over, I got an email from one of the project managers at Ton and Blank asking for a copy of kind of the preliminary design. They're starting to gear up for the legal side of what they need to do for the property donation. So they're working that way.
And we talked to the RDC and with our budget about plugging this in for this year, so it should be intact, ready to go. So we're just waiting on what the board has to say about it. But I'm looking forward. The preliminary meetings we've had, I'm sure looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a wonderful thing, and it's going to give some type of legacy to the hospital where people can come up and read about what was there. And I think they like that a lot. So I'll open it up to any comment from any board member.
I did want to mention along that line that they are looking for, whether it be materials that actually came from the building or at least using kind of similar materials from the building to try to kind of bring those effects in. So we will be working with their project managers to look for that kind of stuff as well.
That's a good point. I forgot about that.
I'll say we did specifically talk about brick that had been salvaged from the old hospital building, as well as they had several cornerstones as buildings were added over the years, but they said they have one that's in really good shape that they thought might be a nice placeholder or corner for a seat wall, a little masonry wall that has some signage on it, but also allows people to sit down and reflect for a little bit.
All right. Sandy, Dave, any questions?
So who has the final approval of the design? Is it the city? Is it the RDC? Is it St. Francis?
I
Is
think
this
it would
more
be
of a-
all the above.
all the
Yeah.
partnership? Okay.
So what we've done to date is just, Jeff's come up with some conceptuals for consideration, and those meetings that we had that the mayor mentioned are, they kind of brought forth some ideas of being able to use some of the different things, so that'll kind of change some of the conceptuals. But yeah, once we kind of have a new, revised, after we get, engaged on this, Jeff would go back to the drawing board, kind of take all that information in that we've had from the meetings and come up with some ideas and some preliminary stuff, and then all the three of those would kind of view that and approve it together.
And we're going to the RDC meets this Thursday, and they're going to do a presentation for the RDC, so. Dave, any thoughts?
No, sounds really nice.
If not, I'll ask for a motion, any motion from the board.
I'll make said motion to proceed with the design proposal.
With Crossroad and
Crossroads.
Mater Design.
Yes.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries.
Thank you very much. Jeff's a new business owner here on Main Street, so it's two Beech Grove businesses. We really appreciate the business and look forward to continuing work with the city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
7 PM Thursday, Jeff.
I will be there.
All right. Thank you. Certificate, next up, certificate of payment. Earlier in the docket of claims, we paid this claim concerning Redford Drive drainage. So that project is complete and will be closed out. So I'll open it up for any questions or comments.
I have none, other than it looks really nice. I hit that on my way home, and they've done a really good job.
Where's this at now? Is it Redford and,
700 block of Redford and a little bit on Killian and Biloxi.
oh, okay.
You know that hard rain we had a week or so ago?
Yes.
That's really the perfect time to go check, because it really rained. And one of the ladies who lived back there, she's lived there for 46 years, and she said, the day it rained so hard, there was water everywhere. She said, by the next day, it was gone. And she said that water would have been there for 2 to 3 weeks, and it's not been done. So it's just a good thing. So I was happy for her. So, if there's no questions or comments, I'll ask for a motion to approve the application certificate for payment for the Redford Drive Drainage Improvement Project.
I'll make said motion.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Dan passed out a handicap permit that wasn't on the agenda, but we're going to go ahead and approve that this evening. It came in Friday. Friday. So, Dan, any comments on it?
No, it's just standard handicap parking permit, so.
Just a standard renewal, so motion to approve.
I'll make said motion.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I also vote aye, and the motion carries. Before the meeting started, the chief gave me this note. Wendell Crook, we all know Wendell. Wendell and his wife Marilee, they're moving to Colorado. And he lives over on Rotherham, and he wanted to park a trailer there from the 25th to the 28th. Is that to put his stuff in to move?
Yes.
So he called the police department about it, parking it there. And I'll open it up, but he's such a good guy. I mean, they're moving, and I don't know if anybody has any concerns about it or not. Dave, any thoughts on it?
No, I mean,
As long as it doesn't impede anything. Chief, it's all right, isn't it?
The only thing is, it's gonna be a trailer not hooked up to a vehicle, so you have to give him permission to do that. And I drove by and checked it, and it won't impede any traffic, and won't impede a mail service.
And we've done this with campers and motorhomes, for a temporary period, so I don't think it's really that much out of the ordinary.
Motion to approve.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye, and the motion carries. We have on here insurance, local 416 representatives. I don't know what this is. Do you have any idea?
Background? before we
Yeah.
step up, please? Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, before you start, did that guy pay us back yet?
No, Anthony Noble has not paid the city back yet, as far as I know. I know that issue was given to the clerk treasurer
Yeah,
to
we
handle.
said no. I mean, isn't that,
Absolutely, yeah.
The board's information, we had a firefighter leave and go to Indianapolis before the end of his first year probationary period. Per our conditional offer of employment, if you leave the city within the first 3 years, you owe the city $9,000. That helps recoup some of the costs of training, overtime, gear, physicals, et cetera. So that's where we are. He did leave, and that issue's been given to the clerk treasurer because it involves collecting money for the city.
okay. All right,
The
Proceed.
insurance issue this evening, Mayor and Board. If you recall, about a year ago, I was up here speaking about Michelle Saunders when she came on to the fire department. When she came on, she took the city's insurance, and she had to pay 5 insurance payments, and we felt like that was an undue burden on a new employee. So we brought up to your attention, trying to figure out where we can go or what we can do in the future. So the union would like to speak tonight about that issue. We had a similar issue now with Aaron Coffey. He came on as a civilian paramedic. He started January 26th, and he worked his first 2 weeks. He worked for 96 hours, and 3 days before the last payroll, he received an email notification that he would have 3 insurance payments taken out that pay, which was the 15th, and then the next pay he'd have 2 additional payments. I was able to speak to the clerk treasurer for the additional 2 payments. We said, well, March has 3 pays. One insurance doesn't come out, so we're just have him paid in March for insurance, all 3 pays, and I'll get him caught up and he's good to go. But what I know we would like to speak to you in the future is how can we stop this burden on our employees? I know it's a difficult situation. It has to be fair to all the employees. There's a huge outlay of money for that initial insurance payment. With Aaron, for example, to just give you an idea of the situation, he came in, he worked for 96 hours. He receives an email. Oh, hey, by the way, over $700 is coming out of this week's check. The man received a check from the city for $343 take-home pay. If you average that out, that's $3.60 an hour that he brought home. So that's the importance of the situation. It's I'm not saying it's nobody's fault that's sitting here, but what we'd like to do is come up with a good, solid solution. And we're not going to do it tonight. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen tonight, but just want to make you aware of the problem and how it really impacts the employee. They come here and work. I know they're excited to work here, want to be here at Beech Grove, and then they're socked with this high insurance payment. So that's a little background on the issue. I'll let these guys speak, but I just want to thank you for your time, and I look forward to working for you in the future and answering these questions, see what we couldn't do to make things better for our employees. So thank you.
Mayor and Board, we'd just like to bring this matter up to you. Maybe we could confer at a later date to come up with maybe a more solid solution and maybe even consider amending the employee handbook for the city. This doesn't just plague the fire department. This is all employees in the city, not just the fire department employees or the police department employees. And we'd just like to address it in the future. For when officials change places, if we have a new clerk treasurer or whatnot, we don't have to revisit this again at future times.
I don't know. I mean, we can talk about it, but I don't know what the insurance calls for. I don't know.
Right.
I never enter into that. I don't know, you know.
Mr. McMillan could probably address it a little bit better than I could.
The issue is, AIM, which was Indiana Association of Cities and Towns, they make these rules, not the city of Beech Grove.
Right.
If he would have started on the 14th, he would have had to pay for the whole month. He started on the 20-something, and he only had to pay one payroll out of that. I don't like it. I can't make the rules. I can't change their company policy, so I think you really need to speak to them and try to get them to do something, because I agree with you. It's a lot of money coming out. The insurance is a benefit. We offer it to all employees. They can pay it in advance before they come here. They can do it several different ways. We try to work with them and accommodate them as much as possible. But at the same time, we're not a loan company or a bank.
Right.
And I don't mean that to be mean, but at the same time, if the money's not collected or whatever, then it becomes an issue.
How many payments are they taking out?
A total of 5, correct?
They pay a month in advance.
So this first paycheck, they had 3 payments come out. Each payment's, I think, $210 a month
So
for his
what would
plan.
happen if, this has came up before, I remember this conversation. If you start a new employee after the middle of the month, you're all right, is that right?
Well, it's better on them because they only have to pay for
One of
one
the-
pay
yeah.
group. And so what he actually paid for when he started was the one pay because he started on the 20-something, and then the previous month, or the next month in advance. So there's 3 of them. Well, then it turns into another month, and you're paying for them. So, like Rob came to me, and when we spoke today, I said, yeah, we can do it, one each pay. But at the same time, we can't drag this out forever. And I'm not making these rules, AIM is. And previously, when we had it with Christian Duncan, we could do that and accommodate them, and it worked out. They have no wiggle room. If I was to leave employment with the city at 12:01, my insurance would be canceled. There's no wiggle room. So, that's an undue burden to any employee too, because if you don't know about it, we've had retirees leave, and the same thing happened to them, where they had to go on to Hartford, which is the retirees, the month previous, because they would be canceled out, let's say if it was 15th at 12:01 a.m. and have to go 2 weeks without insurance. So I don't know what the answer is. I can't change their policies, and I feel for what you're saying, but I don't know what the answer is.
One of the suggestions that we kind of debated a little bit over, and I'll bring it up tonight, is throughout the first year of employment, everybody gets 3 checks 1 month, 2 months out of the year. We were just, it's something that we'd have to discuss, but if the city could recoup the money from paying it forward in the month that they were hired throughout the year, so in any 12-month period, an employee would have 2 months out of that year where they would have 3 paychecks. So you could payroll deduct from every paycheck in their first year of employment, regardless of what department they worked for.
Will that nationwide help any of that?
No.
No.
That's completely
Yeah,
different.
that's-
Yeah, but the issue is that becomes a bookkeeping nightmare that someone's got to remember about for 6 months down the road or whatever. And then at the same time, the city's paying a bigger portion than the employee is. So, it's an undue burden on the city on top of it, because like I say, we pay a big percentage of that premium.
I do understand the burden for sure. Do we tell them that up front even before?
Well, I mean, Aaron was told 3 days before he was paid. That'd be
There
the
is a
other
new
part.
form that was made out when this transpired. All new employees from now on will be offered, they can pay it up front before they ever start, and let them know how it actually works.
So it'd be, these are talks for the future?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. How's your foot?
Good. Really good.
Back to work?
Back to work,
Good.
back to training.
All right, thanks, Brent. That concludes new business comments from board members.
I have none, thank you.
I have none.
Not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make said motion.
Second.
Meeting is adjourned at 6:27 PM. We will reconvene on Monday, March 4th. Thank you very much.